Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and today I'm doing a preview for ExoTerra, currently on crowdfunding. And no disclaimer needed, we don't take money from publishers for our crowdfunding coverage, I just want to help you make an informed decision. And if you like the content on the One Stop Co-op Shop, consider supporting us through Patreon. You get early access to our videos and exclusive videos every month you can't see anywhere else. You can also listen to our weekly podcast for reviews and design discussions, or join the conversation and say hi on our Discord. So ExoTerra is a campaign giant mech combat game. You are playing through these different scenarios called sorties and trying to achieve different objectives, often to destroy these enemy jackets because you are piloting these big robot things called jackets. And the core action for the game, at least on the player side, is controlled by these unique decks of cards, which you will play from and add to over the course of the campaign to attack, to move, all that kind of stuff. And to be entirely honest, unfortunately, I've not been able to give this game as much attention as I would have preferred. I got the prototype from my friend Derek from Kanji Studios right before I left for vacation, and then things have been crazy with the kids the week since we got back. But I wanted to get something up before the crowdfunding campaign ended. So I'm just going to play through the initial tutorial sortie so you can see a little bit of how the game works. This is very much a prototype. The rules are prototype. I'm not an expert on the gameplay, so I might make some mistakes. But if you want to see more of the game in action, see later sorties, check out Kanji's videos, check out Steve and Kim's plays. I'll leave some links in the video description so you can see those. But let's jump in and read the narrative intro for Sortie 0, which again is mostly a tutorial. This is going to kind of add more elements and add to our deck as we go along. At first, each jacket for the players is only going to have 7 cards, a much smaller subset of the full number of cards you'll be using, and we'll kind of add more as the sortie plays out. Sortie 0, punch a hole. Months have passed since the fleet mobilized from Backwater Station. Months of blood and scrap metal from battle after battle. Months of low morale as people wonder how their friends and family are back on Pelmont. The orders have all come down in a slurry in the past 8 hours. Some teams are getting sent for the hard stuff, full assaults on asteroid bases and capital ships with guns big enough to crack planets. Others pull recon or sabotage duty. The tabletop display blinks and pulses, a spiderweb of planned strikes, all orbiting around a single point like electrons around a nucleus. A lonely orbital monitoring station floating in the void. This is the real target. Everything else is just noise. The objective is to destroy this station and all enemies in the area. Command has mandated the jacket systems be gated to reduce telemetry leak. Whether that's to keep the attack quiet or to make sure nobody's listening when the sortie goes south, nobody knows. Once things go loud, the enemy is expected to rally nearby forces, at which point those gates will drop and it'll be business as usual. The station's primary purpose is to process data streams from nearby satellites. Knocking it out will create a blind spot to make Terra fall. However, once attacked, the facility will automatically initiate a hibernation protocol diverting power from data processing to shields, greatly reducing chances of success. Nobody asks why this station is so important. Nobody asks what's coming down in that blind spot. Command has made it very clear that failure is not an option. Alright, so here we go. They do have miniatures for the player characters, but I'm using the standees to make it a little more clear. So here's the monitoring station we have to destroy. It's got 1 orange shielding, and then 5 like basic life. And then each of these are these little Gatling drones that we also have to destroy. They each only have 2 life. That's on a separate card you'll see in a moment. We're starting out over here in hexes A1 and C1. This is a combination, and all the maps are like this, of 3 fold-out books. You can get some really interesting configurations this way. And I'm controlling 2 jackets, by the way. You must control at least 2, at least as far as I'm aware of, but I think it plays up to 4. And the basic structure of gameplay is one of my jackets will activate using its energy playing cards, and then I'll draw 1 token from this sort of bad bag that could activate the drones, could activate enemy jackets once they're out. And then my other jacket will activate, we'll pull another token, we'll both refresh, and then we can activate again. So the order in which jackets activate each round is up to the players. And whenever 3 different tokens are pulled, 3 different types of tokens, then you're going to activate all of the token types that have been pulled so far and discard 1 from each pile because they can pile up. I think, which game was that? I think it was Arkham Horror 3rd Edition had a similar system to that. So the enemies will generally activate every 3rd player activation, but that will change depending on how things go. All right, so let's get into a player turn and what's going on with our jackets. I'm going to have the Ulf jacket, which is a combat-focused, ranged-focused attacker, go first. So you have a jacket, and that's going to determine your starting cards. A lot of them are specific to the jacket you're piloting. It also has this special mode you can switch into to give you special powers and access to different actions. Every jacket has 3 damage tracks. You aren't destroyed until all 3 of them are gone. You also have what are called countermeasures in different colors, which will prevent enemy fire from actually damaging your inner systems. Each player also picks a pilot. I'm using the 2 that have art done. There are a lot more, but only 2 of them had their art finished. And yeah, basically what's going to happen is I'm going to play cards and abilities until I choose to stop, which is mainly going to be limited by my energy. The Ulf has a max energy of 4, so every round I'm going to reset it to 4, and I can play cards and use abilities based on that, like this Plasma Strand Energy Whip thing, costs 1 energy to play, that costs in the upper left there. And then I also have access to a lot of basic abilities like movement that also cost energy. And once I stop playing, I'm going to draw a new card. I'm going to resolve some malice, some red negative tokens that I might have built up. I'm going to pull a token from the bag, like I said. And then I flip this to show that I've passed. And when everyone's passed, we reset our energy to the max. We end the round, move to the next round, and we flip over and we can activate it again. All right, so what I want Ulf to do, they have a beam cannon that can shoot at range 0 to 3, 0 being their same hex. Or they have 2 of these nasty plasma strands. This is not unique to the Ulf, by the way. This is a gear card that I added to them because there are a lot of like general weapons and bonus items you can use. So yeah, that's range 0. So do I want to attack the drones first or do I want to attack the base? Like I said, the base is going to start boosting its defenses if we wait too long. But of course, the drones will try to shoot us. But they only have a range 0 to 2 for their attack. So if I'm in the monitoring station's hex, then I guess A could shoot us, but not B. To talk about hexes briefly, the gray ones are difficult terrain. It costs 2 movement to move into one. Doesn't affect line of sight otherwise. The red ones block line of sight. I mean, you can see this is a giant asteroid floating in space. Block line of sight and movement. Unless you use basically jump jet movement, which can go over those kind of things. The green terrain is concealing terrain, which means that when you're in it, nobody can shoot you from other hexes. They have to be in the same hex as you, unless you're using certain attacks that can ignore that, or unless you have an ability to spot them and find their location. So right now for the drones, I basically have to jump onto their spots to kill them. All right, so you know what? Let's go ahead and jump on the base and start thwacking it. So I'm going to use first a basic action that's available to every mech, which is this one right here. For 1 energy, you can move up to 2 hexes, and you can buy that any number of times. So I'm going to spend this 1 energy to move twice. I'm going to get opposite this giant asteroid. Then another thing you can do on your turn is spend your countermeasures for different effects. And this is something I love. I love when you have these different choices where you can use these as a defensive or offensive strategy. So reds can be used for close range punches along with an energy. Oranges can be used to get extra energy for the round. And yellows, which is what I am using right now, can be used to launch you up to 2 spaces of flying movement, or I forget what the actual term for it is. Which means, here we go, I'm right in their face. And let's see how much damage we can do to this. So first, I'm going to play the Plasma Strand. So it's going to cost me 1 energy. This is information about the card. The 2 is how many copies of this are in your deck when you buy this gear. This shows that it's a melee type gear item. The L shows that it's light. And all this is going to go into the deck building, deck construction portion of the game because you can load out your mechs your jackets in different ways. But yeah, the key thing here, so this little black muzzle here shows that I'm starting an attack. The yellow shows the type of damage I'm doing. Each of these icons is a single type of damage. The yellow and the orange here are going to correspond to different types of damage that will be opposed by different types of armor, countermeasures. It seems more complicated than it actually is. And then the range is 0. Okay, so I'm doing 1 yellow damage, and these are extra abilities I can choose to pay for. So if I pay an extra energy, make this cost 2, the attack will also gain an orange attack damage, so I'll be doing 2 damage. And if I spend an energy for this, I gain accuracy for the attack, which means you can change the color of the damage to an adjacent color. So yellow can change into orange, or orange can change into red. Those are the main ones, which you might want to do to pierce the specific defenses of an enemy jacket, but they aren't on the board yet. So right now, except for the 1 orange I want to take out their countermeasure here, I can use whatever I want. Grays can be destroyed by any type of damage. So that being the case, I will go ahead and spend 2 energy to make this do a yellow and an orange. So it brings me down to 1 energy left. And when you play a card, it'll either go to your cache, which is where this one is going. Cards do not automatically get shuffled back into your deck to draw again. You have to take this baseline action where you spend 4 energy, and then you shuffle your hand and your cache back together and draw 6 cards. Kind of like a little recharge action. But some cards, let's see if I have any. I don't right now. But some cards will instead get trash in the scrap pile. A lot of times those are like single-use, really powerful weapons. And you can only get them back through certain effects, like picking up expended ammo on the battlefield and that kind of thing. All right, so I'm dealing orange and yellow damage. I can choose the order in which it's dealt. So I'll do the orange to remove that and the yellow to do that. So this person only has, or this person, this station only has 4 life or health left. Now I have 1 energy left, and how do I want to use it? I could spend a red countermeasure and just punch the thing in my space. I could play the Plasma Strand, but I wouldn't be able to boost it for the second attack. I could play my 6 megawatt beam cannon, which would also attack at range 0 to 3. And I could gain a positive and negative token. This red one here with the check mark means that I would have to double draw from the bag, so we'd get enemies activating a lot more quickly. And the green positive energy bonus is something I can use for an extra energy, as you might imagine. But here I'm going to play something more basic. I'm going to use this lock on target. It's not really helpful yet. It's going to give me an accuracy token that'll sit around. One of the ones that, again, changes the color of your attacks. But once enemy jackets show up, it'll be useful. If I also had, and this is kind of one of the key mechanics of the ULF, that they like gain these negative tokens and then benefit from them. If I had one of those enemy activation tokens, I would gain another accuracy, but I don't. So I'm just going to spend 1 energy and get 1 accuracy. And that's just going to hang out until I want to use it. They don't get used up or anything. All right, and I guess with that, I'm done. I could have activated Fra Blackford to gain an extra energy or to deal more damage at range 0. Once you use the pilot, that gets moved up. And then whenever you do your baseline to reshuffle all your cards in and draw back up, then you get to use them again. So it's like once per recharge. But I didn't want to do too much of my stuff right off the bat, especially since the enemy jackets haven't shown up yet. So I'm going to draw a card. I'm going to pull from the bag. Nothing else of this applies. This is to move these little like ejection pods that'll save enemy jacket pilots. And you can blow them up to like really mess up the pilots. The campaign has both you leveling up and the pilots against you to kind of get that, I used to watch Macross and all those things, and they would always have the rivalries between pilots. So, yep, I am passed. Let me draw my card and draw from the bag. I got my 240 millimeter cannon. That sounds good. And that's currently it for my entire deck. We're about to add more cards, but it's kind of funny that you go through them so quickly in this tutorial. All right, and we got the best token. This is like a nothing activation, the white one. But once those get resolved, besides nothing happening, they do get taken out of the game instead of discarded, at least in a regular mission. And sorry, we're still on 0 here. But that was a good first pull. All right, now we've got the Ormer jacket piloted by Taka. And while the Ulf is more of a long-range attacking one, this one is much more defensively focused. Now, big difference between them and the Ulf is that they have 5 energy every turn. The Ulf is a lower energy jacket overall. And let's see what I've gotten. So Sentry, they would gain an accuracy token that we already saw. And these tokens are Reputation, which is not used in this first scenario. You can't gain it, so this would just be wasted. But it's basically your leveling up currency, what you use to like buy cool new cards for your deck and stuff. You also get these for completing objectives, damaging enemy jackets. And here it says an allied jacket within 1 range, and the kind of icon there showing a sort of arcing shot means that it's like an artillery type of range, which means it ignores concealment and other things. But this lets them gain 1 gray cube, which is a sensor. It can block any type of damage, and it can be used to spot people that are in concealment. So that's one of the ways you can shoot at those guys without moving into their space. I also got both copies of their starting gear, which is the Scourge RA-120 machine gun, which is crazy. It costs 3 energy. It does 3 points of damage, 1 red and 2 yellow at up to 2 range, but then you scrap the card. That's what that icon means. So this is one of those ones that will only be single use unless I can find some ammo to recharge it. I guess that's the only attack they have besides basic punching. All right, so let's try to help destroy the station. Finish that off first. So I'll go ahead and spend 1 energy to move twice to here. Line of sight is traced from center of hex to center of hex, but if you go along a blocking hex side, like this one, unless both sides are blocking, of course, then you can still have line of sight. So I can shoot from here to the station. And yeah, it's expensive, but let's spend 3 of our 4 remaining energy to fire our big machine gun. So that's doing 3 damage, and then it's getting scrapped. Uh-oh. All right, so there we go. And then for my last energy, I guess I'll just move into the same space as the spider to destroy that in a second. Although not having any attack options besides the Scourge at the moment, I'm not sure exactly how I'll destroy it. I would have rather played one of my defensive cards for my last energy, but I was down to 1, and the only one I could have formed is this Kron X Simulator, which gives me a cool bonus if I have cards in my discard, and if I have at least 2 of those sensor cubes, which I had none of, so it would not have been useful to play that yet. All right, so end of my turn, I draw my last card currently, which is just to gain, again, you can see that I get a lot of those sensor cubes to block with and scan with. And we draw a red. These are mission tokens. They're going to do something different based on the mission. Right now, the red effect when the 3rd token comes out is to repair and add life to that base we're attacking. So if we blow the thing up in 2 seconds, which I plan to do, that'll be great. All right, and then because we have both passed, we're going to reset our energy to max. The round's going to go, and we're both ready to go. So we can have the Ulf go first or the Ormer. And the Ulf seems like the obvious choice. So let's go ahead and use the Plasma Strand for 1 of our 4 energy. Gosh, we don't have a lot of energy. to deal 1 damage. I don't need to add any extra. We're destroying this thing. And the Sortie campaign book has little instructions whenever you interact with these specific tokens on the map. So here it says when we destroy it, we hamper the enemy's ability to scan the area. So we remove the star. I think that just means take this away. And then we add another nothing activation token to the bag. That's cool. But we aren't done yet. I want to kill that guy. Can I kill that guy? Well, let's see. I'll go ahead and use Exploration Directive, which just lets me move 0 to 2 for nothing, for free. If I had at least 2 of those bonus energy tokens, which I can get a lot of, or at least 1 of the negative tokens, I would have gotten to draw 2 cards. I ain't got any cards to draw yet. My deck is empty. So for now, I'll just move up to 2 for free. Remember, I can't attack them unless I'm in their space. So let's use a second energy, 2 left, to go into the actual space with them. Then we're going to play for one of my last 2 remaining energy, the gigawatt or megawatt, whatever, 6 megawatt, I think that's what it means, beam cannon. A little bit of a weird 6 font there. So 0 to 3 range, I'm doing an orange, and I'm going to gain a +1 energy and a bonus activation token to gain an extra damage. And this is a split damage. I can make it yellow or orange as needed. Here it doesn't matter. Each of the drones only has 2 life, and it's gray, so anything will hurt them. But yeah, that would give me some flexibility in my attack. So that's going to do 2 damage and destroy, but I'm getting those 2 tokens. Oh, I just realized that these are clocks, which shows that you're like taking time and the enemies are going to activate more. Makes a lot of sense. I thought it was just a check mark. Anyway, so I got that, but also the positive energy one. And here's the Gatling Nest card. So the bee has 2 energy. In the normal game, when I destroyed them, I would get 2 reputation for leveling up. And I would also get some salvage in the space that I can pick up for 1 energy. And that can give you more ammo and other fun things. But in this scenario, you don't do salvage or reputation for the drones. So it's just destroyed. And this also says how they would activate. They don't move in any way, but most units will move towards you, and then they attack for 1 yellow attack at range 0 to 2 if they're able to activate. Now, this double activation thing kind of sucks, so I want to do something. I'm going to go ahead, because I am going to have to baseline soon anyway. I'm going to use Frau Blackford's ability to gain 1 energy. And then for that too, I'm going to play one of my last 2 cards, which is Thermal Chassis. So this is a special type of card that goes into your backplane area here. So you're not really supposed to have your cards down here. You can tell by this little attachment symbol here. And a lot of these will use these tokens to track powers. Sometimes you'll build them up when you do certain things. Sometimes you will just get them free like this. So I'm going to add 2 of these tokens to it. It costs all my remaining energy. And then as an ability, this is the cost to the left of the colon and what I receive to the right. I can take away 1 of the tokens on here and 1 green energy token to remove 1 bonus activation clock token. And when I take the last token off of this, I'm going to put it in my cache, my discard, and I'll get to draw a replacement card if there are any to be drawn. So, yep, I will go ahead and use that and just get rid of both things that I got. So basically that extra damage was kind of free. All right, that's the end of Ulf's turn. I cannot draw because I don't have anything in my deck. And again, there is no way to automatically get that back. I need to take this baseline action probably next turn for my entire turn. So I'm just going to pull a token, and then we'll get to Ormer. And pretty good chance they activate, but we do have that extra white token in there. We'll see. Okay, so red mission tokens stack on top of each other. White tokens stack on top of each other. The only token type I haven't drawn yet is the drone activation tokens. There's 3 of those in the bag. They each show different types of drones they activate, and those do not stack. So they make it a lot easier to get the 3 you need to actually have an enemy turn. But hey, we got lucky here. Nothing bad happening. And by the way, the stacking thing, when you resolve the turns, you take the top token of each stack. So having 2 mission tokens here would make the enemies activate again more quickly, theoretically, because they would only need to fill in 2 empty spaces. Again, I'm pretty sure it's been a while, but I think that's the exact system that Arkham Horror 3rd Edition used, or something very similar to it. It's pretty cool. So Ormer is just sitting here. I really don't want to use their other Scourge machine gun. I think that'd be stupid. So this might be equally stupid. But I think I'm going to punch twice using up my own red armor. I've got a lot of it. But that's only going to take 2 energy, so let's build up some defense to make up what I'm losing. Let's go ahead and spend for 3. I'll censor Stalk. Doesn't sound very nice of you, Ormer. I'm going to get 1 gray armor, and I'm going to get an accuracy token for them, which again will actually be useful when the enemy jackets show up. Oh, and then here, Taka's going to use his heroic ability, an allied jacket. I do think that means includes myself. If not, then I guess I'm about to cheat. Within 2 gets a targeting token, which is a little different. How targeting works is whenever you make an attack, you can spend that token and gain an extra damage of 1 of the types caused by the attacks. Not a type you've changed it into with accuracy, but it's just like an extra damage straight up. Pretty great. So with that, I'm going to spend 1 energy and 1 red cube to do a punch. I think I can use targeting with that, so I'm doing 2 red attacks, which is enough to destroy the other spider and forward the mission along. And actually, looking at the rules, I think that we immediately forward the mission. So let's say before I do that punch, I'll spend my to-be last energy to gain another gray cube from my stealth matrix. Okay, so we move to phase 2 when we have destroyed everything. So it says, Icers confirmed in Quad 3B. Must be brave coming so close, I think is what they meant, to Mother Chaw. Let's see what they got. All right, now first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock 3 more cards. There's a lot of unique cards for your jacket. 3 more cards for my jacket, shuffle them, and create a new arsenal deck. So hey, we actually have some cards to draw now. It also clarifies we can now use our sequence chain. So how this works is I can either take a card from my hand and put it on the bottom of my deck as the cost, or pay 1 energy to switch my sequence. Ormer goes into phalanx mode, and then you can do the same thing and switch back. Now, you'll see it takes away some of your basic actions. Oh, I forgot that anybody can spend 2 energy to do a basic 0-range gray attack, which meant I would have not had to use my red, but whatever, I got a gray instead, so it's fine. But yeah, so when I cover that up, I can't do my regular move action anymore, I can't do my baseline to reshuffle, and I can't do my basic attack, but I unlock something else. So for Ormer, I can move a little slower. It's 1 space for every energy spent. I can also convert accuracy, because they have a way to get a lot of accuracy. 2 accuracies into 1 targeting for extra damage. And then they have this ongoing bonus, really nice. Whenever an ability an enemy performs causes you to use your gray wild defense countermeasures, you get an accuracy token, which you can then turn into more damage. So yeah, pretty cool to be able to go into that. Ulf's is Conduit. They can move 3 spaces for 2 energy, which is still worse than regular movement. And then their big thing is whenever they interact with salvage, they get a free energy token, which can help to shore up their 4 energy, which is very low. Now, drones still aren't going to drop salvage for the rest of the mission, but when we actually start hitting the jackets, they will, so that could give us something to pick up. And actually, we're getting a lot of stuff in general. So we're getting some new places to go to. This is some ammo we can pick up, which is going to be great for Ormer. They can get back that big machine gun. Salvage we can pick up. Some mines we want to avoid. They will hurt us if we move into them. They will not hurt the enemy. We're also getting our first enemy jacket, which is going to have its own pilot. I'll show you all that in a second. And we're getting more spider drones. This time, it's a group of them all in 1 space. Whenever it's like a Roman numeral 1, 2, it's a group all working together. Whenever you have like A and B, like this one was, we would have had a group of tanks if we were playing with more players, by the way. So spawning is based on player count. But yeah, whereas these tanks were singletons, this is a group of people. All right, I got things set up. So looking at the new spiders, as I said, it's going to be 1 group moving together, but they've got 3 drones in that group, so they could shoot us 3 times if they get within range 2. Now they're going to actually move towards us. And when we attack them, we pick which drone we want to shoot at, so we can whittle down their numbers, although they're still not going to give us any of this good stuff. But now here's the real deal, an enemy jacket with a lot of their own stuff going on. So first of all, they've got their own pilot. Like I said, there'll be like rival pilots that will level up throughout the campaign along with you. This one doesn't have arts yet, but their name is Bet Yokma, and that is set by this tutorial, this initial sortie. In the actual game, each player would have like their own little set of pilots that they'd be going off against, their own rivals. They have their own starting values for their 3 parts, and we have to fully deplete all 3 of these to destroy them, but we cannot deal damage to these until we've gotten rid of their starting countermeasures, so they are a lot like us. They also have a jacket they're piloting, and the combination is going to determine what kind of actions they're doing when they get these different activations, which is going to be controlled by their behavior deck. These are unique cards for each pilot. They have 3 of them, and when they activate, because I'm rebuilding the activation bag, there's going to be 2 of them keyed to this jacket. When they activate, we're going to draw the top behavior card, and they'll do a whole bunch of stuff. By the way, the Sortie Zero had us reset everything, so all these tokens went away. We have a new bag. It's only going to have 1 of those white tokens, the 3 drone tokens you never saw, 3 of the mission tokens, and then 2 for the jacket. But also note that jackets will add in more tokens for their own activation and more powerful tokens based on their pilots. So for bets, they had me put it on the 6th and 9th round. So if we take a really long time, these are going to get added to the bag. This one will let them move farther with every move action. This one will let their attacks be piercing when they draw that token. But if we defeat bets, as I plan to, all these tokens get removed. All the tokens in the bag for them get removed, so they won't be as much of a threat. And to show you what's been added to the map, here is the ammo. Again, that will let me get cards from my scraps, so Ormer could get back their machine gun. Although I kind of want to wait until they have an excuse to fire it again, maybe let the enemies come to me. Down here, we've got some mines. You see how they kind of sit on the hex on the edges. If we walk into those, we will take a red damage. We can attack it like a drone. You'll see the little gray cube there to blow it up, but you have to not have walked into it yet. You have to be at range, which means we'll be wasting one of our attack cards. I'm not sure if we want to do that. There's salvage should be grabbed, which especially Ulf would like. By the way, if the enemy jackets end up in any spaces with these, they'll pick them up and gain bonuses, which is pretty cool, although hopefully they won't. And then down here is a big weapons cache. If we get all the way down there, we can spend 2 energy to pilfer their supplies and gain 3 of those targeting tokens to deal extra damage. That is insane. Although, again, I think what makes more sense here is probably to wait for them and to recharge all our cards. And speaking of, nothing said to like stop the regular turn sequence, so I think we're still finishing Ormer's turn. So they're going to draw one of their new cards that got shuffled in. Lich Repair Nanites. Remove up to 4 accuracy tokens. For every 2 accuracy tokens you remove this way, you gain 1 red defense like the one I got rid of, and you draw a card. That's pretty cool. And I'm going to pull a token, which is a mission one. Those are going to give the enemy jacket bonus accuracy tokens, which is not ideal, but we can deal with it. And that's also it for the rounds. We're both ready to go again. Let's have Fra and the Ulf go first because they aren't doing very much. They're going to spend all 4 of their energy to go ahead and do the baseline. So Fra's going to become available again. Her power, I'm going to take everything in my hand and everything in my cache and everything in my deck, shuffle it all together and draw a new hand of 6 cards. Although this, my thermal chassis attachment, is going to stay in play with its token, which is great. All right, and we'll see what those are later. I got one of my whips again, but we're not going to worry about it yet. And we get, a jacket activation. So, I mean, I don't necessarily mind. I'm not sure if they'll be able to get into range of us. We're both in concealment right now, so even if they get close, they're not going to be able to shoot us yet. All right, and then Ormer. Can we just do max defense before we reshuffle their stuff? Oh yeah, sure we can. Okay, here we go. We'll do Sentry for 2 out of 5 energy and Adamant Guard. So I'm going to choose to gain 1 of those gray cubes. And I'm going to gain accuracy and give myself another gray cube. Because again, I think Ally Jacket includes myself. Maybe not though. So we are tanked up and ready to smash. So down to 1 energy. I'm not going to move because I don't want to get shot if they get really close to me. And we do still draw a card for them because we haven't done their baseline yet to reshuffle things. And let's see if we finally, hey, there we go. We finally got triple activation. So we're going to go from left to right. So this one is going to give the enemy pilot a targeting to deal even extra damage to us. Don't love that. Okay, and then here's the big one. The Bruex going to activate. By the way, they had a gun based on the instructions in the scenario, so that's also going to come into play sometimes. All right, and they are doing a cautious advance. So again, this is unique to Betts the pilot. So we're going to do as many of these things as apply. So they're going to do their yellow activation first. Then if they have no malice energy tokens that we put on them, they're going to do their green activation. Then they're going to move 0 to 3 to try to get within 2 range of us, and they get as close as possible. So like in our case, they would just try to get right into the concealment with us. Then they're going to shoot their regular weapon if possible. And then this is pretty much always at the bottom of their cards. They're going to interact with anything in their space, like grab, salvage, and that kind of stuff. All right, so let's go one by one. So yellow activation, precision targeting package. So they're going to gain another targeting token, and if they had an energy token to spend, they would spend it to get a 3rd targeting token. Well, thank God they don't. Okay, and then they're going to do sprite drones, where they would shoot for 1 yellow damage, piercing through our countermeasures, all player units within range 1. So that doesn't do anything, luckily. All right, they don't have any negative energy, so now they're going to do green seismic sonar. So a lot of abilities will check their health level in different things. In this case, this one says if this track is at 1 or greater, which it is, of course. So if we destroy that, we can take out their seismic sonar and their Hellstorm battery. But it says if it's greater than or equal to 1 and a player jacket is within 3, they would gain a gray defense. They don't. And then Vandium plating says they get 1 orange defense for each player jacket within 1 range, which, okay, great. Nothing is happening with any of these. Okay, now they're going to move 3 to try to get within a possible 2 range. Now, with us being in concealment, they would have to actually reach us, which is impossible. The Ulf is 6 away, and the Ormer is 7, so they're going to charge towards the Ulf right into the mines, which is maybe not my favorite. I'd rather them be closer to Ormer, but so it goes. Okay, then they would try to shoot with their Auric 100mm machine gun, which, gosh, does 2 damage at range 0 to 2, but they're not within range 2, and even if they were, I'm in concealment, so they aren't right on me. Okay, and then they're going to interact with stuff on their space. The mines do not affect them. They know where the mines are. They are their mines, not our mines. But cool, that was actually a pretty innocuous activation. And then this token is also very innocuous, which is maybe not great for us. So first, tank-type drones would activate, and then, I forget what that type is, but those type drones would activate. But we've only got spider drones, so they do nothing. The other 2 gray tokens will activate them. And these tokens get discarded. They'll only be shuffled back in when we've gone through the entire bag, which is good because that's already half of the activations for Betts. So they're a little bit less dangerous now. So that was the end of the Ormer's activation, so I don't think I moved around yet. Okay, now we're both available again. So let's have the Ulf activate because they can actually start shooting. I don't really want to charge into the mines just to hit him with my whip, but I do have this 3-range 240mm cannon. Yeah, let's do it. So it's going to cost 1 of our 4. And it's doing 1 red damage, and if I gain a time token, which I will because I can get rid of it in a second, I can gain an additional gray and red. Now, unfortunately, the gray won't do anything, but 2 red is nice. Oh, I can use the accuracy token. Yay! So gray can go up to yellow, which has 1 little token behind it. Red's got 3 tokens behind it, so we can go down to orange. It's like this whole kind of priority organization system. It's pretty straightforward when you see it, though. But I'm hitting them for 2 red and a yellow. So how does that work? I can freely distribute my damage in certain ways. Each of their core components can only be damaged, like the actual black cube moving, by 2 colors. So red and yellow can hurt this. I forget which one stands for this. I know this is like their core, like kind of chassis. This is like their, I think, circuitry. And I think this is their hull. But again, you got to destroy all of them. And the only one that's really doing much for us is lowering this one is going to take away some of their activations. But other pilots will care about other things. But yeah, so red and yellow can hurt this. Red and orange can hurt this. Yellow and orange can hurt that. But you cannot hurt anything unless you've taken care of every countermeasure in front of it. So I think the only way we can actually deal damage here with 1 yellow and 2 reds, because they have no red defense, is to do the 1 yellow first here, and then red, red, boom. We have destroyed that first component. And in a full sortie, I would be getting one of the reputation, like experience point level ups for every damage I do. So that would have been 2 experience right there, but again, we're not tracking that here. But whenever a component is fully blown up, we leave some scrap in the space. They can pick it up. We can pick it up. It's on mine, so maybe neither of us will pick it up, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, it was a great start. Now I just need to get some orange attack to be able to punch through their other defenses. But we got more fun stuff we can do. Let's go ahead and do lock on target for our second energy. We get an accuracy token. If we have at least one of those malice tokens, we gain another accuracy. Yes, we get the full use this time. And we can see now that accuracy can be pretty useful. Okay, then look at this. Energy stores, if I have at least one of those minus tokens, I get 2 energy things for free. Heck yeah. Which means we'll be able to get rid of that red token in just a second. And hey, now it's a good time for Exploration Directive. This is the one that lets us move 2 for free. If we have at least 2 energy tokens or 1 red, we have both of those. We get to draw 2 cards. This is all free. Love it. And yes, we're leaving our safe shelter, but a lot of my attacks are range 2, so I don't care. What did I draw? My beam cannon, my plasma strand. I got fire for effect, which does red damage, which is not necessarily what we want right now. And it can target up to 3 enemy units within range, so we kind of would rather the spiders move. You know what? I just want to go crazy. I just want to murder this guy. So I think I am going to walk on the mines. Why not? So I'll spend one of my 2 remaining energy to do my basic move over to here. So the mines are triggered, and I take 1 red damage, and they're removed. And I'll just take one of my red defenses. I could also choose to damage it on my tracks. And you know what? Let's go ahead and shift into my other mode, right? So I need to either spend an energy or put a card on the bottom of the deck. I think the fire for effect is not very useful right now, so I'm going to put that on the bottom. Okay, so now whenever I interact with scrap, I get an energy token. So I'm going to go ahead and interact with the scrap now. It pays for itself, which is lovely. And crud, I forgot about this. I'm supposed to roll a scrap die, but they don't have it in the prototype. I know in Derek's video, or maybe it was Steve's video, they just use a D12, but I forget which value is which. So for now, let's just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm sure the the actual distributions are different than that. All right, so we find an intact memory module and get to draw up to 4 things. Well, I don't really want that, but whatever. I guess I got a lot of cards. Ooh, and I got, this is a cool one, Cybernetic Pulse. Note that this needs us to spend 1 energy and damage our own component. That's what those things mean. But I do a Cybernetic Pulse where I get another one of those malice tokens. But I do 2 orange piercing damage to every other unit within range, ally and enemy. That is insane. But then I scrap the card instead of cashing it. I don't want to do that yet. Let's see, what have I got? Oh gosh, I'm out of energy. Well, I don't need all these energies. Let's go ahead and do 1 plasma strand. So I'll use 2 of these to do yellow and orange. I don't need the accuracy, I don't think. And what the hell, let's go and use her ability to get another yellow-red. So it's a yellow-red, a yellow, and an orange. And let's try to mess up their one that's going to actually let them do better abilities. Especially that Hellstorm battery is nasty. So it was a yellow-red, a yellow, and an orange. Okay, so let's use the orange to get rid of this, and then yellow, yellow-red. So now it's down to 1, and Hellstorm battery won't trigger if they activate it. All right, and then I don't want this to trigger, so I'm going to use my last thermal chassis ability. So I'm spending this energy to get rid of that. And then I do cash this card. I don't have any cards to draw from my deck, though, for the second bonus. But dude, I kicked some butt that turn. That was great. So I can't draw a card as I end my turn. I'm going to draw a token, and then it'll be Ormer. See what y'all got. Okay, Spider Drones activating. All right, I was going to recharge Ormer's stuff, and I don't think I need to. Let's just charge in. And yeah, I mean, this is a little silly, but I just want to do it. I'm going to spend 2 of my 5 energy to go right there. I'm going to spend all the rest of my energy to fire my other machine gun, and then I'm going to go and get that ammo in a second. So I'm doing a red and 2 yellow. Oh, actually, yeah, no, that'll be okay. I forgot I've got 2 accuracy tokens, so I can change the red into an orange. So yeah, let's change the red into an orange. And then I had 2 yellow. So let's do 1 here to blow that up so that they also can't do their seismic sonar. and then 1 here to fully take away their countermeasures. So all we got to do is 3 more damage of any type, and they'll be dead. Which Ulf should be able to do with like their whip, and then just another punch if they need it. And another salvage drops into space for Ulf to benefit from, heck yeah. But that used up all of Ormer's stuff. So they're gonna, ooh, this one's awesome. Look at this, hammer maneuver. It costs a gray cube and an energy, but they do a 3 gray attack at close range that can only target drones. When the drones get close, they're just gonna smash them. And what activation do we get? Another drone. Now that counts as a separate one, remember, they do not stack. That's going to be a double spider activation. That's slightly scary. Yeah, by slightly, I mean very, because Ulf will actually be like in range to get shot a billion times. Oh, shoot, and I just looked at the objectives, and whenever the Bruek is destroyed, we switch to phase 3. So maybe we should like kill the spiders. Well, they're far away. It's fine. All right, that's another round. We're close to the Bruek's tokens, but clearly they're never going to get them. And let's have the Ulf go first. They can kill the Bruek, maybe grab the salvage, and then run away from the drones. And this works out pretty great. So look, you can do the plasma strand. I'll spend 2 energy to do yellow and orange. These are all the right colors. And then I can also do, where was it? The beam cannon, which is going to be another energy. So that's down to 1. And I'll need to get the extra stuff because the 1 final orange is all we need. It's 1 yellow and 2 orange. Just enough to blow this dude up before they ever get to do anything. So they are destroyed. In the actual game, the pilot would like get picked up and we could try to shoot the thing down. And depending on how it went, the pilot would level up in different ways or could be killed entirely. But in this case, they're just going away and we're getting a new one, I believe. Phase 3, pushback. Not too shabby. I shouldn't have underestimated you snow breathers. I'll be back with some fresh metal and a few new toys to finish you off. Okay, we finally get the rest of our deck and get that shuffled in. And then we also get a new gear because we should have had more gear in our deck as well. All right, so the Ulf's options, although there are more options in the real game, is to get a scatter rifle. Scatter rifle doesn't deal any actual damage, but it puts like this, I forget what it is. It's like a virus or it's like scattered their programming. Basically, it means that whichever mech has that token, when they activate, they can't use any abilities that are based on their components on their mech. So like here it would shut down the seismic sonar and the Hellstorm battery. But it gets trashed. It costs 2. My other option is a smoke grenade. It costs 2 as well. There are 3 of them in the deck. And that will let me put smoke on a hex within 0 to 2 range and then trash it, which might be good for like these crazy drones and stuff. Smoke, as you can imagine, blocks all line of sight, and I don't think it goes away, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, honestly, between the 2, I think I'd rather have the smoke grenades. Okay, and then for Ormer, I can get the deflector, which just gets me more gray cubes, a shield, or a sonar grenade that spots all enemies within 2 range. I mean, they're going to be charging towards me, right? I'm going to go for the deflector. Open, the weapons cache is removed. I didn't get a chance to get it. All right, now we set up some new stuff. We actually have the same pilot. They kept that simple, even though in the theme it sounded like they were not there. So they got a new mech somehow, and they've also leveled up. So this is showing you kind of, it's just a little intro to how the campaign works. So like I said, the enemy will be getting these cards. So now they've got a mine satchel they'll use whenever they activate their red line, and they've got a survey they'll use whenever they activate their yellow line. We also have some tanks. We still have all the spider drones we got to kill. These got taken off, but all the whites got taken out of the bags. We're not going to get any nice activations, and we're still getting the Bruek getting stronger. But actually, y'all, sorry to say this, I'm recording this on a Sunday, and my kids are just about down their TV time, and I'm posting this next week. So I'm going to have to stop there and not finish the full sortie, but hopefully you've gotten an idea of how things kind of work out, how the enemies level up, how the player cards work. And again, if you want to see the game in more depth, check out Steve and Kim's video, check out Derek's video, they did a great job. And yeah, I'm not going to give too many thoughts on this one because I haven't played much of it. I think it's got a lot of cool stuff going on. I think the card play is really neat. I think the unique robots are great. The way that the enemy pilots level up seems like it's going to be pretty epic. But I had a fun time playing, so that is a little bit of ExoTerra. Go check out the campaign. It should be up for at least another week or more after I post this video. And a special thank you to our biggest Patreon supporters, J. William F., Pedro Lucas, Steve Wren, Miles, Wayne Scott, and Casey W. We'll see you at the next stop.